The first time the message arrived, it came from a number Daniel didn't recognize, at exactly 2:17 a.m., when the city outside his window was silent except for the distant hum of traffic and the soft ticking of the clock his mother had given him years ago. "I know this will sound strange," the message said, "but you need to forgive him. Holding on will destroy you." Daniel stared at the glowing screen, his thumb hovering, his breath shallow. He read it again, slower this time, as if the words might rearrange themselves into something familiar. "Forgive him. Holding on will destroy you." He locked the phone and placed it face down on the table, his chest tightening with a familiar ache. For years, he had learned to live with the pain like a background noise, something always present but rarely acknowledged. He had buried it beneath work, routine, and long, quiet evenings. But now, a stranger had reached into that carefully sealed place and touched the wound directly. He didn't sleep after that. At dawn, light crept through the thin curtains, painting pale lines across the room. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, his hands clasped, replaying memories he had spent years trying to forget. His father's voice, the argument, the door slamming shut, the call that came too late. By mid-morning, exhaustion pushed him out of the apartment. He walked aimlessly, letting the city guide him. The smell of coffee drifted from a nearby cafe, and without thinking, he stepped inside. It was the same cafe he had avoided since the day everything changed, but grief had a way of blurring boundaries. He ordered black coffee and took a seat by the window. His phone buzzed again. "Please don't ignore this," the message read. "I know what happened. I know how it ended." His heart began to pound. He typed back before fear could stop him. "Who is this?" There was a pause, long enough for him to regret responding. Then the reply appeared. "Someone who has made the same mistake you're making now." Daniel's fingers trembled. Anger rose first, hot and sharp. "You don't know anything about me," he wrote. "I know more than you think," came the response. "I know what it's like to believe silence is strength." He closed his eyes. The cafe noise faded into a dull murmur as memories surged forward. The last conversation with his father replayed in his mind, every harsh word etched with brutal clarity. He had believed he had time. Time to cool down. Time to say sorry. Time that never came. He didn't reply. The messages continued over the next few days, always gentle, never demanding. Sometimes they were just single lines. "Pain doesn't disappear when you ignore it. Forgiveness isn't for him. It's for you. You don't have to carry this alone." Daniel told himself he would block the number, but each night he waited, phone in hand, heart tight with a mixture of dread and hope. The stranger never used names, never explained how they knew so much. And yet, every word felt disturbingly accurate. One evening, after a long day at work, Daniel finally snapped. "Stop," he typed. "You're reopening something I've spent years trying to close." The reply came almost immediately. "I know, I did the same. I lost everything because of it." Daniel leaned back against the wall, sliding down until he was sitting on the floor. His chest burned. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "I want you to choose differently than I did." For the first time, Daniel felt curiosity break through the fear. He hesitated, then typed. "Choose what?" "Forgiveness. Before it's too late." Daniel laughed bitterly, though no one was there to hear it. Too late. The words echoed. His father was gone. Forgiveness felt meaningless now, a hollow gesture toward an empty space. "You can't forgive the dead," he wrote. "You can," the stranger replied. "You just have to be brave enough to speak to them." That night, Daniel dreamed of standing in his childhood home. His father sat at the kitchen table, hands folded, looking older than Daniel remembered. When he tried to speak, no sound came out. He woke up with tears on his face. The next morning, he called his sister for the first time in months. Their relationship had fractured after their father's death, both of them drowning in grief, blaming each other in quiet, unspoken ways. They met at a park near the river, autumn leaves crunching under their feet. At first, the conversation was stiff, filled with polite questions and long pauses. Then, unexpectedly, his sister began to cry. "I'm so tired," she said. "I miss him so much." Daniel felt something break open inside him. He reached out, pulling her into an embrace, and for the first time, he allowed himself to say the words he had been holding back. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For everything." They talked for hours, sharing memories, regrets, and moments of laughter through tears. When they finally parted, Daniel felt lighter, though the ache remained. That evening, he texted the stranger. "I talked to my sister today." "I know," came the reply. Daniel frowned. "How?" Another pause. "Because I watched someone I love wait too long to do the same." Daniel's breath caught. The pieces began to shift in his mind, forming a shape he didn't want to see. "Are you saying you know my family?" "No," the stranger answered. "But I know loss. I know what it steals when you let it harden you." Days passed. Daniel began visiting his father's grave, something he had avoided since the funeral. At first, he just stood there in silence, hands in his pockets, heart racing. Then one afternoon, words began to spill out. Apologies, anger, love, regret. He spoke until his throat ached and his eyes burned. Each visit left him exhausted but strangely calm. One night, unable to sleep, Daniel typed again. "Who are you?" The reply took longer this time. "My name is Elias." Daniel stared at the name. It felt heavy. "Why me?" he asked. "Because once, someone tried to warn me," Elias replied. "And I ignored them." The air in the room felt thick. Daniel's mind raced. What happened to you? Several minutes passed. Daniel wondered if he had crossed a line. Then his phone vibrated. My brother died without hearing the words I should have said. I was angry, proud, certain I was right. I thought time would wait. Daniel's chest tightened. "I'm sorry," he typed. "So am I," Elias replied. Every day. The conversation shifted after that. Less advice, more shared silence. Sometimes they talked about ordinary things. The weather, music, small memories that felt safe. Daniel found himself looking forward to the messages, even relying on them. One evening, Elias sent a final message. "I need to tell you something important." Daniel sat up, heart pounding. "What is it?" There was a long pause. So long that Daniel feared the connection had been lost. Then the words appeared. "I'm writing this from a hospital room. I don't have much time left." Daniel's breath left him in a rush. "What do you mean?" he typed. "Are you sick?" "Yes," Elias replied. "And that's why I couldn't stay silent. I couldn't watch someone else live with the same regret." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "You helped me," he wrote. "You don't even know how much." "That was the hope," Elias answered. "That maybe my pain could still mean something." The messages stopped after that. Days turned into weeks. Daniel checked the number every morning, every night. No new messages came. The silence was heavy, but different from before. It didn't feel empty. It felt complete. One afternoon, Daniel returned to the park by the river. He sat on the bench where he and his sister had talked, watching the water move steadily forward, never stopping, never turning back. He took out his phone and typed a message he knew would never be read. "I forgive him, and I forgive myself." He sent it anyway. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel felt a quiet certainty settle in his chest. Pain would always be part of his story, but it no longer defined the ending. He stood up, breathing deeply, and walked forward, carrying with him the lessons of a stranger who had reached across time, loss, and silence to remind him of what mattered most.